In today's video, we're going to be sharing 15 of the best things to see and do in Southeast Asia. We'll be covering the Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia.
Now, we have done all of these excursions and activities, and we have to say they added so much to our experience. If you've never considered going to Southeast Asia, maybe these will give you some ideas on what you can see and do. So let's go.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
If you're wondering where we are as we travel the world, we keep our location updated on Instagram. We also have a senior travel community on Facebook, and we invite you to join us there, where people are coming together to talk all things travel.
Located near Da Nang, the Hoi An Lantern Festival is one of the top things to do in Vietnam. It's no wonder it's called the City of Lanterns. From the sun-drenched and vibrant architecture of the old town to charming lantern-lit nights and many unique experiences in between, Hoi An casted thicker spells over us with every discovery. But the highlight was the thing Hoi An is most famous for, the Lantern Festival. This occurs during the full moon, so check your calendar when you book your trip. It would be a sin to miss the festival, which occurs about once a month. As we floated our lanterns, we sent wishes into the magic air of the night. I think some of our wishes have already come true.
We are often asked, what is your favorite place? After 104 countries, I can now say that my #1 place on earth is Raja Ampat in Indonesia. This is a remote group of 612 islands situated in the heart of the Coral Triangle, the planet's richest center of marine life and coral diversity. The beauty of the islands is unrivaled, but take a peek underwater and you will witness one of the most beautiful sights in all the world. Thousands upon thousands of fish swimming within arm's reach. You almost don't know where to turn your head as there is so much variety. The coral blankets the seabed with an assortment of species, and the fish swim and go, unafraid of the human on this side of my mask. What a beautiful world.
When researching what to do in Southeast Asia, we came across many backpacker accounts of taking a slow, longboat down the Mekong River from the northern border of Thailand to the city of Luang Prabang in Laos. The Laotian people call the Mekong the mother of water for the livelihood that depends on it, like fishing, agriculture, gold panning, and tourist activity. Many boats make the route, and while you can take a trip with the locals in the true backpacker fashion, we chose instead to hop on the Shampoo cruise boat, which offered us a chance to lazily drift past villages, floating markets, fishermen, and peer inside the rural life of the Laotians. There were stops along the way at local villages and the world-famous Pak Ao Caves to see the thousands of Buddhist figurines placed there by the locals. All in all, it was a defining experience in Asia and one we will always fondly remember.
Singapore offers visitors world-class entertainment and a unique mix of old and new. Futuristic structures and reflective skyscrapers that tower over 200-year-old buildings and temples. The tourist attractions in Singapore guarantee that you'll be scraping your jaw off the ground. While there's so much to see and do, we have a fascination with orchids, and the National Orchid Gardens did not disappoint. Located at the Singapore Botanic Gardens, the Orchid Garden has over 1,000 species and over 2,000 hybrids on display. You won't see an orchid garden more beautiful in all of the world than here in Singapore. Spend a good part of the day here and then head to a hawker stand at one of Singapore's night markets for some authentic specialties to fill your tummy.
As a spiritual place, the best way to enjoy Ubud is to slow down, immerse yourself in nature, eat well, and achieve ultimate levels of relaxation by getting a few massages and perhaps taking a few yoga classes. If you want to visit a temple, stop by Pura Tirtha Impel, also known as the Holy Spring Water Temple. Here, the springs that feed the water wells are said to have been created and blessed by the god Indra. Locals and tourists alike flock to the purification pools to undergo the ritual of cleansing themselves at each of the 30 water spouts while wrapped in a sarong. Even if you don't wish to take part, it's still interesting to watch.
Exploring Ho Chi Minh, or Saigon as the locals call it, is a historically and culturally significant city, and we suggest you take your time as there is so much ground to cover. It is a fascinating place steeped in history and reminders of colonial periods and the Vietnam War. One of the most charming things we did was visit a water puppet show. This takes place in a theater, and you will find yourself researching how this show came into being and just how the puppet masters stay underwater to pull the show off. Spoiler alert, it's been part of the Vietnamese farming culture for centuries. Enjoy the music, storytelling, and giggles as the puppets delight the inner child in us all.
Visiting the island of Coron in the Philippines, which is consistently ranked as one of the best islands in the world, was a great day trip from the city of Coron. We rented a private boat for the day, which was surprisingly affordable. It certainly beat being packed into a passenger boat without the ability to customize our experience. And customizing we did. We first stopped at the dock to provision our boat with snacks and beer, rented some clear-bottom kayaks, and snorkeling gear. With our stuff all loaded, we were off to explore some enchanting lagoons, crystal clear lakes, and coral reefs. There were places to tie up and buy some halo, a crazy concoction of fruit juice, corn, and sweet potatoes, and plenty to see under the water. We paddled to our heart's delight and returned in the rain. What a fun day on our colorful boat.
Traveling to Chiang Mai, Thailand's second largest city, is a treat with lively markets, intricately decorated temples, and promised views of the Thai highlands. Our dreams were realized when we marveled at the architecture, walked with the orange-clad monks, and stuffed our bellies at the night bazaars. But our favorite was spending the day at an elephant sanctuary, learning the habits of these fascinating creatures. While there are wild elephants in Thailand, the former domestic elephants are unable to be released back into the wild and they must be cared for. Elephant sanctuaries are homes that seek to enlighten the traveler and give them an opportunity to interact with a hands-on approach. We mixed their food, fed them, walked with them to graze, and watched them take a mud bath and go for a swim. If you're heading to Thailand, skip the elephant rides and go instead to a farm that provides sanctuary to the national animal of Thailand.
Watching Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones' legendary heist at the Petronas Towers in the movie Entrapment inspired our interest in seeing the world's tallest twin towers. Our first glimpse was at dusk, and the towers gleamed as magnificent beacons. The glow of the setting sun, along with the brilliant reflection of the building's lights, made the towers glow as if they were the only buildings that mattered in the world. It was truly a captivatingly beautiful sight. Getting our picture with the towers behind was a challenge, but a fun experience. We can't wait to go back and take it all in again.
Our number one reason for visiting Siem Reap was to walk through Angkor Wat. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is the largest religious site in the world and was built in the 12th century. We have 3 tips for visiting Siem Reap. First, set your alarm to an ungodly hour so that you can arrive at 5 a.m. and be the first into the park. 2, arrange for a day driver who will supply cold water after each stop. 3, plan to visit during the Cambodian New Year in April so you can take part in epic water gun battles with the locals. This might very well have been our top travel memory of 2023, sharing smiles with strangers before they blast you with their soaker gun, reminded us of our carefree childhoods when we could have unadulterated fun, riding in the back of pickup trucks, scheming with our friends in the neighborhood, and doing it all for the love of fun and games.
As the old capital of Laos and a UNESCO World Heritage Site that encapsulates the entire town, Luang Prabang is magical and mysterious. Laos is easily one of the best Asian countries to visit, with plenty of tourist attractions concentrated in Luang Prabang. Aside from the temples, local markets, and French colonial architecture, our favorite was the Quang Si waterfall just outside town. We got there early and were the first ones in the park, which afforded us the beauty of walking alone and discovering the pools in solitude. As we came to one group of cascading waterfalls, we thought we had reached nirvana, but then we walked further and the scene repeated itself. At each turn, more beautiful pools and more waterfalls. Be sure to pack your swimsuit so you can jump in.
There are 2 temples in Chiang Rai that most tourists make a priority to visit, the White Temple and the Blue Temple. We love visiting old and ancient religious sites, and wondering how progressive thinkers of the time designed places of worship. These are not that. These two temples were built in 1997 and 2005 in the neo-traditional style of Buddhist art. Both are true houses of worship, no doubt, but the surprising thing about them is that they incorporate modern psychedelic visual imagery, including pop references to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Elvis. Even with this unconventional art form, these two temples are a thrill to see up close. The deep color of the blue temple with its radiant gold trim and the white temple with its tiny inlaid mirrors reflecting the sun and sky make for a fun tourist experience.
Komodo National Park is made up of 29 islands and is home to around 2,500 legendary Komodo dragons. Seeing the dragons had been a lifelong dream for this little boy from West Virginia who, after 50 years, had finally made it happen. We trekked with a local guide along dirt trails, hoping to spot these dinosaur cousins. While it was a little freaky to know their primal power makes them so dangerous, we felt a wee bit safer behind our guides who held homemade weapons of protection, a stick cut out of the brush with a forked end to hold them back if they came charging. Nevertheless, seeing the world's largest lizard in their natural habitat fulfilled my bucket list of walking among dragons. Most guided trips to the island also offer opportunities to visit other islands, capture great photographs, and even take you for a swim or a snorkel.
At first glance, Hanoi is pure chaos. Frenetic streets, zooming scooters, and blaring horns can overwhelm even the most seasoned traveler. But upon closer inspection, the true pace and the richness of this cultural capital becomes evident all around when taking a red and gold fringe rickshaw. There is never a dull moment when exploring Hanoi, and doing it in a rickshaw is the classic way to enjoy the sights of Old Town. French colonial architecture, religious sites, historical landmarks, and numerous museums showcase over 1,000 years of history. And the Old Quarter of Hanoi, which dates back to the 14th century, is a cat's cradle of invigorating hidden treasures.
Bangkok is a foodie paradise, and it starts with the street food world of Chinatown, where Yaowarat Street starts at the Chinatown Gate, piercing the whole neighborhood, flooded with stalls come dusk. The beauty of this street is that no one waits for action to happen. You'll be swept by stall after stall of beautifully prepared dishes. There's also pop-up restaurants with plastic colorful chairs to stop and enjoy the fare. Our suggestion is to do what we did. Look at your neighbor's plate and say, "We're having what they're having." You won't be disappointed. We hope this list has helped you plan a great itinerary in Asia, so happy journeys. Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.